You said that she's just seeking fame and she's greedy and all this. You, in your Twitter bio, say that you're the Juice's lawyer, and before you came on, were begging us for Twitter followers. So isn't that kind of what you're doing too?
That is, you should put my Twitter handle on, and
Why is that?
It on if Barstool has 1.6 million, make sure that's.
But why do you want to?
Why do you want?
Unusual tactic for a lawyer to call the person who his client may or may not have murdered her brother a piece of.
She got exactly the commentary that she deserved with her new little round of
deserve for what though? But Malcolm, but for what? For promoting a podcast?
She's trying to profit off of misery.
I mean, your client wrote a book called "If I Did It."
Yeah, and it was bad judgment his part. Bad judgment.
Out of curiosity, Malcolm, when he wrote that book, he then went with Judith Regan on an interview and promoted it. Does that make your client a piece of? Last question. Who do you think OJ murdered first, Ron or Nicole?
You guys are the biggest amateurs
ever.
Well,
the blood shows Ron.
The blood does show Ron. That's true. A big moment for you. If we tweet this out, you're going to hit the magic 2,600 Twitter followers.
You guys didn't think anything else before you came on the show.
Not at all. You played us like a... I'd be curious, before we get into the other stuff, how much contact do you have with Simpson day in, day out? Like, what is the relationship like? Because you seem... I will say this before we get to the other stuff. You are very protective of your clients. I'm curious, is it a friendship? Is it a frequent correspondence? Infrequent? How does it work?
Oh, no. It's nearly daily, daily. It's multiple times a day. I know, obviously, with the last, since June, when all this Goldman publicity tour and all this stuff started up again, it's been multiple times a day, every day. Let's go before that. Let's say this year and a half gap where not too much was going on. Then it would be more like, every few days we could call. He has to come into the office sometimes to deal with, some various legal things, some internal orders, whatever it is. He's got to come in the office to do paperwork. But it is, at this point, I would say it is still like 60, 70% attorney-client relationship, and at 30% I do consider him a friend. Be mindful, though. I'm a lawyer that very well understands that you have to keep a certain professional relationship with a client. And this situation is unique, obviously. People think that I'm very protective of Simpson. Well, the situation is very unique. This is a guy who has these judgments and stuff, but the attacks on him come more from social media, the regular media, and these publicity tours. So as a lawyer, I had to encrypt my mind and figure out, how do I deal with this situation that's very bizarre, unique, whatever it is. And it's been, and I figured out a way that I think has been highly effective. And if you see how some of his haters or these adversaries now deal with him, it has to be mindful of the fact that I had a platform before, which is not a very big platform, but a lot of media people follow me. So media would pick up on a lot of things I would say and through my Twitter. And now that Simpson has his platform of, 870-something thousand people, Mr. Simpson can deal directly with any issues he has if he wants to. But as you can see from his Twitter page, it's been basically super positive, and he just offers his commentaries. He's done exactly what he said he's going to do on it. Well, fantasy football, which bores me to death. So that's all, it's fine.
Well, what I find, so you said you've found your way to deal with it. And I got to say, as from an outsider's point of view, and I'm curious to hear yours. I listened to you on Kim Goldman's podcast. I listened to you when you called into the show in Las Vegas. You have taken, by any definition, an aggressive turn. You've called Kim Goldman a piece of shit. You've said she's disgusting. You've hurled lots of insults at her. And I don't really, and honestly, I'm open. I don't think it's going to work, but I'm open to any reason from your end why you're doing that to somebody, whether you like them or not, who did, whether you think OJ did it or not. I think he did. Maybe you don't. You didn't defend him in that. But her brother did get his head chopped off. He was murdered. So I wonder why you continue this sort of aggressive tone toward her.
Well, no, number one, he was killed. The murder was never established.
Well,
Someone
whatever.
Did go on drop a murder and
whatever.
He walked.
Okay,
well,
whatever.
It's a big. He
was found liable, okay? Civilly liable for the murder. Correct.
But let's go back to your let's go back to your original point about these.
Okay, did you? Well, first of all, did you? Let's go one by one. To be fair to you, you called her a piece of shit in the Daily Mail, correct?
I said POS, but yeah, that was on Twitter. Yeah.
Okay. Why would you do that?
Because she's a professional victim. I mean, that's it. She's a public figure. This is it. She's a public figure. She intentionally puts herself out there as a public figure. She goes on publicity tours, and all of it's on my client's name, and it creates problems, or it potentially creates problems. I won't say it creates actual problems. Sometimes it does, but it creates potential problems.
So you said it. So it's not actually. Which problems has it led to?
If she goes on TV and gets people worked up.
Well, if she goes on the TV and tells her
minding his own business
and tells her story,
are you gonna let me finish or not?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go
ahead. You're right. No, you're right. You're right. No, you're right. You're right. Go ahead. That's right. That's fair. Go ahead.
All right. So, and that's it. And she's only doing it for money, for pure greed, pure profit, pure fame of her own. She has some kind of. She doesn't want to admit this, but she has some sick craving for fame, her own individual personal fame.
Based on what?
It's got nothing to do with her loss or anything like it. It's her own personal desire.
Malcolm, what are you basing that on, though?
It's based on her conduct over the last, certainly the last 15 years, but we can look over the whole last 25 years. Her public, she has a public relations guy. Her conduct with, most people don't know this. Simpson doesn't owe Kim Goldman a dime. He owes her nothing, but she goes around and parades around like he owes her money. He owes her nothing.
He owes the Goldman family nothing.
He owes her nothing.
He owes her dad $80 million.
The dad, the mom, they never want to deal with in the estate.
Right,
so
but
and that's a legal obligation, and he complies with all the turnover orders.
Malcolm, let me ask you.
But I'm justified in anything I say about her. So you're not going to shake me off.
You can say whatever you want, but I mean, you're calling her a piece of shit because she has a public relations person.
Well,
because she wants to be famous, which I'm not even sure is true. I mean, she runs a nonprofit. She has a podcast. Do you think she's had a lot of fame and fortune? Do you think she'd like to trade that to have her brother alive, or no? Like, do you think that she's happy this happened because
that issue is not necessarily of importance at this moment in time. The issue is, what is she doing now? How is she doing it? And how does it affect my client? And does she have any real motivation behind it other than for her own fame and profit? And the answer is no, she doesn't.
Well, do you think she's making...
You heard yesterday where Howard dinged Oprah. Howard's always had some type of major beef with Oprah because she's obviously more famous, more successful. And he took another knock at her yesterday. And what did Oprah tell Kim Goldman over 10 years ago? All right, she told Kim Goldman the same thing I told her. All right. So
we told her what? I'm sorry.
I'm the only one who shares this opinion.
Well, I don't remember what Oprah told her, Malcolm. I'm sorry. What was that?
Oprah told her. I told both of them when they came. I told Kim Goldman and Fred Goldman when they came on the show that the ability or the need to move on from a situation.
Well, yeah,
that's it, and they've told her that. So,
well, this seems to be a big theme. This seems to be a big theme in with the times I've heard you is that she needs to move on and get over it. But I mean, you must understand why she's not doing that. I mean, she does want justice for her brother who was murdered, and nobody's ever been found guilty for it. I mean, you have to understand that, no?
Well, listen, I'm not sure if I subscribe to what Oprah is saying in a genuine way. I'm not particularly concerned if Kim Goldman she moves on in her own particular way or gets over it in her own particular way. My concern is, how does her conduct right now and what she's done over the last couple of years since Simpson got out of camp, or as most people know it, at prison, but how did he get out of camp? How does that affect my client, and what can I do to alleviate the situation?
Well, how does
I've been effective in doing it.
Well, how have you been effective by calling her a piece of shit and calling her like, how is she disgusting?
Her tactics.
Which way? What tactic? I don't understand. She goes on shows. She thinks your client killed her brother, so she goes on and talks about it. How? And by the way, most people think that happened. How is that disgusting?
Because she goes on and promotes stuff.
Promotes what? A podcast? What else?
You're asking questions. I'm telling you. She goes on and promotes podcasts, promotes her books. She goes on and seeks fame and seeks the profit. She's a professional victim.
So when OJ tries to do a reality show and try to do that thing, what's the difference?
When you go out as a public figure, I don't know if you know what the law is, but when she makes herself a public figure, then she can be commented on in a way that private citizens can't be.
Oh, of course, you have a right to do that. I'm not disputing your right. I just don't know where she's disgusting and a piece of shit. To me, she seems like somebody who, you're right, she has a podcast, she's written books, people are curious about it. Why? Does that mean that everybody who promotes something is a piece of, in your definition, is disgusting and a piece of shit because they're promoting something?
Well, I mean, I guess we're just going to be in a circle here where we're going to be argumentative, and you want me to, I guess, say
I'm just asking.
But no, I said what I said about her, and then that's it. She's a professional victim, and that's it.
But, okay. I mean, I don't know. Mike, I have Mike with me as well. He's a co-host. I think he wants to ask you a question, Malcolm. Sorry,
Go
Malcolm.
ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, you said that she's just seeking fame and she's greedy and all this. You, in your Twitter bio, say that you're the Juice's lawyer, and before you came on, were begging us for Twitter followers. So isn't that kind of what you're doing too? It's like the same thing.
No, I wasn't begging you for Twitter followers.
Well, you want Twitter followers.
Before we went on the air, what I said is you should put my Twitter handle on, and
Why is that?
It on if Barstool has 1.6 million, make sure that's.
But why do you want us? Why do you want us? Why do you want us to do that though, Malcolm?
Because if I'm going to come on and give you content, why?
Because you want notoriety. Kim Goldman's providing content.
Yeah,
it's something that affected her life.
She's
so what do you care if she talks about it?
Howard Stern made her.
She's a what? I'm sorry.
She's a bore. He thinks she's boring.
She's a major bore.
Okay.
So what? People listen to her podcast. Who cares if she's boring?
Well, I have a right to comment on it.
But I guess
say who cares.
But it's a little hypocritical when you call yourself the Juice's lawyer to promote yourself. You're making money off of a guy that may have allegedly murdered people, and you're promoting that, and you're asking us to promote your Twitter. Isn't that greedy in the same sense?
Okay.
So what's the difference? What's the difference between you and Kim Goldman?
Your own comments about me. Yeah, you can have commentary about me, and I'll sit there and I don't know if you make.
But you don't even have an argument. So you don't even have an argument for that. I'm criticizing Kim Goldman for
lick my wounds.
I guess my question, do you think Kim Goldman's a bad person?
I don't think she is an altruistic person. I don't think that
she works for nonprofits, though, right? I mean, Doesn't she work for?
Well, that's what she says. That's a cover. But you keep saying nonprofit.
Cover for what?
People who or nonprofits. That's the biggest scam going out there.
You represent OJ. How fucking moral are you?
The people, huh?
You represent OJ.
God,
have the right to legal representation. I mean, come on, guys. You guys are kind of looking bad right now if you don't understand that some people have the right to represent.
I agree. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
All right. So I represent a person who is a well-known public figure. He certainly, at one point in time, was the most notorious person on the planet, and I've got to deal with strategy. I have to come up with strategies to deal with some of this stuff that comes up against that. Against him that presents.
I guess my question is, Malcolm. So you have to do that, and you have your angle. But let's just say that. I
want to talk about this profit because you guys keep talking about this non-profit.
I don't care. Okay. Well, just give me 1 second.
You must have cared because you keep bringing it up.
We'll get back. I mentioned. Okay, we'll get to. But we'll get to. Hold on. Because
she's talking about. She doesn't even have a master's degree. Anyone who does that type of work has to have specialized degrees.
Okay.
They stuck her name on it. I'm sure she gets some kind of check for it. Why don't you? If you're so concerned about that non-profit that she works with, where she tries to make herself look like some kind of saint or some kind of good person, ask them for their tax returns and their financials and see what she gets paid and what she does to that.
It's just odd to me.
Most of her living off of Simpson.
It's odd to me that you hate her so much. Your voice drips with hatred for this woman. I don't
hate her at all. Let's go.
You called her a piece of shit.
Let's go and listen. Let me give you a correlation here. Okay?
Sure, go ahead.
Let me give you a correlation. These are facts. These are actual facts.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
This isn't something about you guys wanting to have a debate. Let me give you facts.
Sure, go ahead.
I started commenting on the Goldmans in 2017, right around the time they went and did their publicity tour. I'm sitting there with my career at stake, Mr. Simpson's liberty at stake, trying to get him out of camp, and they're on TV doing their publicity tour. So you know what? We get off and we start doing this thing with the Twitter and going on Twitter and TV. I went on TV too. They were on TV, so we were there. That went on in about 2017 and 2018. Well, the early 2018, maybe it didn't stop. And guess what? Nothing happened again. You won't see one tweet about me. At least I don't think you will, but I'm pretty sure. From the beginning of 2017 all the way through June of 2018, you heard nothing about me and Kim Goldman, the Goldmans, anything about it. I went about living my charm life. Mr. Simpson built his life here. He's a great life. Guess when all this started again? It started when these Goldman people came on TV again in last month and started with their publicity tour again. And now it started up again. And you know what? When they go away again, I'm going to go away again. It's not like it's going to stop. It's not like I'm going to stop protecting my client or working to protect his best interest. That's something you're never going to shake me off on.
I understand. I totally understand. Understand 100%.
And so they go away. Y'all go away. You'll see the Goldman stop talking, and guess what? Malcolm's going to stop talking, and I'm going to keep going and doing the things I want in my practice. You understand? This is a distraction for me. This is something that I hope ends soon, and so I can go on doing the things that I want to do with my professional life. Simpson can go on doing what he wants in his life. But it's the Goldmans that are driving this and starting this. And then everyone wants to come to me and act like I'm some kind of bad guy for representing Simpson. I'm doing the best.
I would say it's unusual tactic for a lawyer to call the person who his client may or may not have murdered her brother a piece of shit. But that's fine. Neither here nor.
It's strong language. I'll give it to you. It's strong language, but don't regret saying it. She got exactly the commentary that she deserved with her new little round of publicity.
Deserve for what though? But Malcolm, but for what? For promoting a podcast?
She's trying to profit off of misery. That's why that podcast is something that she's trying to make money off of.
So that makes her. I don't know why that makes her a piece of shit though. That's what I don't get.
That podcast work.
But why does that make her a piece of shit?
Get her on your show. Get her on your show and ask her how all the financing of that podcast works. And why she's in there.
I'm sure she's making money off it. It's great.
Between everything.
Right, she's making money off it. So what? How does that affect OJ?
Yeah,
how does that affect your client's life?
My client, she's doing it off my client's name and his expense, and that makes her a public figure.
But
and
I understand legally you could comment on it, but how does that affect OJ's day in and day out life? What? It doesn't matter.
Well, if you go around and try and get people worked up over my client, it could present a problem.
In what way? I don't
wait until a problem actually starts. Actually exists.
Okay.
I nip it in the bud.
Walk me through how this could.
That with these Goldman people.
Walk me through how this could happen, OJ. What's going to happen if she does this podcast? How's OJ?
They go out and these are podcasts. They're not things. These are meant to be disseminated to everybody.
Correct.
Okay, just like this conversation is. So if everybody gets it, they go and get people worked up. It can create problems. All right.
What problems?
Well, listen. Listen. Let your audience figure it out.
No, give me an example.
There was a documentary series and a scripted series about the case. People know about it.
I mean, your f***ing client wrote a book called "If I Did It."
Yeah, and it was bad judgment on his part. Bad judgment. Out
of curiosity, Malcolm, when he wrote that book, he then went with Judith Regan on an interview and promoted it. Does that make your client a piece of shit?
It was bad judgment.
Does that make your client a piece of shit?
We went out last year. You guys should have maybe done your homework before you got.
I know you criticized him for it, but I'm asking you. I know you criticized him. I know you did. Go ahead. I know you did.
Okay. All right. So what? So why? So you think I'm just? You think I can? Not only can I be his advocate, I can be his critic too.
So I'm asking. So you think Kim Goldman's? You told me
Kim Goldman to try and be objective.
You told me Kim Goldman. Why would Kim Goldman be objective? She thinks OJ cut her brother's head off. Why would she be objective?
Well, you don't even know the facts of the case. See, you guys are hacks. You guys are amateurs.
I don't know the facts of the case. I don't. You're correct. I don't know every fact of the case, but I do know that Kim Goldman thinks.
You told me before the show you're professionals and you know what you're doing, and you're kind of sounding like big hackers.
Okay, well, I just said I think Kim Goldman believes that OJ.
And come up with some decent.
I believe that Kim Goldman thinks that OJ killed her brother. Do you disagree with that assertion? I'm not talking about the facts of the case.
I'm sorry. Well, say the question again.
Sure, I'll ask the question again. What I said was, all I said was I think Kim Goldman believes OJ killed her brother, and then you talked about how I don't know the facts of the case. I didn't lay out a single fact of the case. I just said Kim Goldman.
You said some very graphic things that absolutely don't.
A piece of shit. I think Kim Goldman believes it.
You want to go and keep talking about the LA thing? Go fine. I'll try and answer some of your questions.
I don't care about the LA case. What I'm saying is, why do you think?
Sound like an amateur.
You said that Kim Goldman's biased. Like, no shit. Don't you think she'd be biased?
I'm not. I didn't say she was biased. What I said is she should be objective.
Do you expect her to be objective?
Her whole focus is on fame and publicity and profit off of misery. And it's exactly the reason why Oprah told her to move on.
Okay.
And guess what? Oprah is much more famous and much more successful and much more popular than Howard Stern will ever be.
Okay. I don't.
All right. And she told Kim Goldman to move on. 10 years ago, she told her that.
I don't even.
So you're going to dispute Oprah? You're going to go up against Oprah?
Sure, I'd love to have Oprah on.
Are you as successful as Oprah? I mean, maybe Oprah's figured some things out. You know, horrible things happened to Oprah when she was a kid, and you know what? Did she go and decide to become a victim? No, she came on and she went on to be one of the most successful people in the world. And I've been the victim of something, and guess what? You know, I've gone on to be pretty successful, and guess what? Neither me nor Oprah, my little teeny-weeny success and Oprah's mega success, none of it would have happened if we had gone on and continued to be victims and felt sorry for ourselves.
Well, I'd also say, Malcolm, okay, that's great, and I'm sorry you went through whatever you went through. So this happened to Kim 25 years ago. She has a child. She has a career, so I don't think she spends you make it sound like she's just like in this circle of self-pity. She's also carved out a life for herself at the same time.
Well, so you say.
Well, do you know that she hasn't?
Talk about it. If she's done that, then all of this media stuff would show that, but none of it does. It all just talks about OJ's the boogeyman. Give me money. OJ's the boogeyman. Watch my podcast. OJ's the boogeyman. I can get on the Howard Stern show.
Why do you like? I've heard you.
She can say whatever she wants. It's always about OJ's fame.
Well, I've heard you bring up Kim Goldman's mother a couple times in her relationship with her. Why do you think that's relevant to anything she's doing right now? Hello?
When did I bring up Kim Goldman's mother?
Like on the podcast they did with you when you were talking to the producer.
No, you did earlier in this as well.
Unauthorized release. Well, we're not going to even talk about that because they had no permission to even release that.
Okay, well, you mentioned it. Well, you mentioned it in the beginning of this interview as well, when you talked to Kim Goldman and how she owes money to the father and the mother.
The mother owns part of the judgment, but it just shows you that I don't think she was being entirely honest on the Howard Stern show about that relationship that she talked about with her mother, the no relationship with her mother. You know what? That's it. That would be, if I wanted to talk about it, it would be to talk about that. They love the Goldmans. And when I talk about Goldmans, mainly Kim Goldman, the father a little bit, but mainly it's Kim Goldman. They want to monopolize the professional victims card. They don't want anyone else in on this action. That's it. They monopolize it and then monetize it. That's it. That's my viewpoint from everything I've read and seen about them over the last probably 15 years. That's it.
I'd be curious, and I know this is...
They monetize misery.
Mm-hmm. I know it's a lot to ask for, but can you give me an example or proof as to why you think they've monopolized this?
I can give you a couple of little things. I mean, they do have this PR guy that makes sure that they get all the... make sure that they come on when, things happen, that they come on and... make statements. But the biggest thing, the one thing that I can think of particularly when I heard their statements, when I say heard, Fred Goldman and Kim Goldman come on, is when this Trayvon Martin thing was going down. And, there was a lot of, the country was all tense and this was going on and people wanted, one group wanted to go one way, the other group wanted to go the other way. And they had the Goldmans on TV, some of these, they went and did some national news. And it was one time where they were brought on to talk about someone else's grief and someone else is grieving, and they did both of them. Go look at them. These are all on YouTube. They didn't really have anything to say at all about true caring and true compassion for this Trayvon or his family. They sounded stunted, and you know why? It's because they didn't want, God forbid, if Trayvon's parents got in on this Professional Victims Act or something like that.
Jesus.
They're more interested and more comfortable in their zone talking about OJ, always about OJ, and promoting their books or promoting whatever they have to it. So they wouldn't, when you ask them something outside of OJ, they clam up. They don't want to do anything. So that's it. And I've said it before. I'm going to say it a million times. God. She is not a professional in media. Okay.
Who? OJ?
Right? She does not. She never developed her.
Kim Goldman.
She never developed the talent for it, and she doesn't do it. She's a big bore.
Well, who cares though? Why is that relevant to anything? Like, even if
because
I agree,
she wants to be a media person. Okay,
I care. But why is that? But who gives a shit? Like, let's say, Malcolm, let's say I agree with you, and she's the most boring person on earth. Like, great.
Isn't that this conversation is going to even come out on your radio because you guys keep talking over.
You're gonna look like a lunatic.
But you guys have got to let me speak and stop.
No, it's true. You haven't talked enough. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right.
So
I don't know the last part. I'm just telling you that's it. She never developed her skill set. I've seen her go over the years, complete research. I've done all my homework, and she's gotten 1 million projects based on Simpson. She's gotten 1 million projects to do, and every one of them has failed. Every one of them, lock, stop, and step, including this podcast, which is failing.
Well, her podcast is doing really. Your podcast is doing really well. It's doing very well.
How do you know?
Well, it's on the top. It's on the top of all the iTunes charts. I see it all the time.
I mean, why do you think Nancy Glass was on the phone call with me, desperate to try and get me on her show?
Because it's a good spot.
In an illegal way, unauthorized, reduce the tape recording.
Oh, I don't know that. That's your legal situation.
Yeah, because they were desperate to get downloads.
It's number 7 on all iTunes right
now. To get downloads rather than listen to something that people have already known about for 25 years. There's nothing new coming out of that podcast.
Right. Well, yes. The only thing I would say, and again, I'll just leave it this because I think we're going in circles. It's just, I think, you must understand intellectually when you look at it that a guy calling a victim, whether you think she's professional or not, whatever, horrible, disgusting, and a piece of shit you can understand why people would look at that and say, why is this guy doing that? I mean, you must understand that, right?
Well, listen, I make my choices like everyone does in life, and you live with the consequences. So I said what I said, and I ain't taking it back, and I can justify it. Okay, so I'm going to give you a chance right now to say that Kim Goldman is not a piece of shit. Like, will you at least say that? No, come on. Yeah, please. Come on. What? Please. What? I tell you, we just spent the better part of, 20 minutes or so talking about how I'm not taking anything back I said about Kim you stand Goldman by everything. Or the Goldmans in general. You think OJ killed Ron and Nicole? Excuse me? Do you think
OJ, Orenthal, James Simpson, murdered Ronald Goldman, Nicole Brown Simpson?
LA thing, you can keep going about it.
I just asked you a question. I'm asking you a question.
I thought you guys were professionals. You guys
we keep saying this.
You said, hey, unlike you, Malcolm, you've criticized Kim Goldman for not being professional, but we're professionals.
Right, I said.
Here you are. You've just been. All I've dealt with are two hacks for 30 minutes.
Well,
now.
give me
I'll stay on the phone with you.
What would you like?
I don't give up on anyone.
What would you like me to? What would you like me to ask you? What would you like me to ask you?
So what do I? So why would you ask? Why would you? What's your IQ level when you would ask
46.
a lawyer for OJ Simpson?
This is a lot longer than no, by the way.
Right. So you think what we all think. You think OJ. You think OJ killed them all. You think OJ killed them both. You think OJ. I know down deep because you're not dumb. You think OJ's a fucking idiot. The thing in Vegas was so stupid it's unbelievable. He wrote that book, If I Did It, which is you admit is dumb. The guy's a fucking dummy. And you take his money. It's blood money. You can rip Kim Goldman.
I didn't say he's a dummy. I said it was a bad.
He's a dummy. He's a dummy.
I mean, he got $1 million to take that. I mean, I don't care how much of a money grab it was.
But he's not a piece of shit though, right?
You guys are looking so. You guys.
I know you keep doing that. You did it. I know you did it with Kim. You did it with Nancy Glass. We know everybody's dumb but you. But yet, you're.
No, I don't think everyone's dumb but me.
Wouldn't you say that you're? If you're gonna do the piece of shit chart, wouldn't you say you are a bigger piece of shit than Kim Goldman? You can answer that at least, right?
No, because I
do. I think you're a gigantic piece of shit. I'm being honest.
Chaser.
I do. I think you're an ambulance chasing hunk of shit.
Very, very professional.
But I just do. I just do. It's okay. I mean, that's you're making a living. I respect it.
Any other criticisms on me? Go ahead.
No,
I'm a piece. I'm a piece of shit.
Last question. Who do you think OJ murdered first, Ron or Nicole?
You guys are the biggest amateurs
ever.
Well,
the blood shows Ron.
The blood does show Ron. That's true.
I'll stay on the phone with you. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. We'll let you go, Matt. I know you got to do your run. We'll talk.
This has really upset me so much that I think I'm going to go to Christian Louboutin, Hermes, and John Barbados today.
Ooh, shit. And don't worry, we're going to put your Twitter handle. We're going to put you have 2,000. You have 2,000 Twitter followers. We'll make sure to bump up your Twitter account. And we'll get on this Malcolm LaVergne publicity tour that you're going on. What's the next stop on the publicity tour, Malcolm? What's the next stop?
I don't do publicity.
No, he doesn't want fame. He just wants us to retweet him.
Don't worry, we'll put your handle on it, okay?
I don't have 10, 15 emails from you guys. You guys don't even have
absolutely.
You guys are the ones actually calling me for the show.
Course.
You guys are such amateurs. You don't even have a producer to actually do this.
No, that's actually our producer, but he is an amateur. You are right about that.
That's true.
Of that, there's no doubt.
Made one good point.
Of that, there's no doubt.
Go give this tape. Listen, if you guys are looking to increase your careers, go give this tape to someone who is in your profession, where you can actually get a promotion, where they're going to go, wow, look at the talent these guys have.
I hope so.
Well, they handle O.J. Simpson's
We'll hand it over to Dave Portnoy.
These guys are real professionals here. These guys did an amazing job.
Here's a little tip for you, Malcolm. I'll give you a little tip as well. If you have any memorabilia of OJ's, make sure you give it back to him. If not, he's gonna get his boys, his goons, and try and fucking kill you. So you better be careful as well, right?
Anything? Come on. Anything else? Come on.
No, I'm just saying. Do you think when OJ slapped Nicole around like 50? Do you ever talk to him about that? Does he stop beating women or no?
Get it all out.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking questions. That's all.
No,
so you don't answer anything. That's your thing next, but you don't answer anything, right? Because he's your client.
What do you mean? Why would I answer an amateur's question?
You should probably, when you're done with this, why don't you, when you're done with this, why don't you send this podcast to another lawyer and then like a professional one, and maybe they'll do a better job and show you how to do it. Go to a professional. You're just an amateur, Malcolm. Just an amateur.
No, what did you know about being a lawyer?
Well, I mean, what do you know about being a broadcaster?
No, I think I would be a broadcaster in 30 seconds, 10 times better than you if I started
30 seconds,
today.
10 times better.
I'd start 10 times better than you if I did it today based on what you did. You guys were not prepared.
Look, here's what I think, okay? This is going to be a big moment for you. I agree we don't have a producer. I agree with you on that. A big moment for you. If we tweet this out, you are going to...
You guys didn't think about a story or a focus.
You are going to hit... I'm telling you, you're going to hit the magic 2,600 Twitter followers when we do. We're going to do this.
You might get as many followers as me sometime.
Could have my mic. Yeah, go ahead, Malcolm.
You may learn something.
Go ahead. I'm ready. Good.
All right.
Good.
You guys, this is the difference. You guys didn't think anything else.
No, not at all. Not at all. You play this like
all you thought about was getting.
You play this like a chess. It's like another.
None. All right.
Okay.
When you actually want to be successful, you better think about a plan and you better work hard. All right.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
This is why you guys are where you are in your life, and I'm going to go to Christian Louboutin. All right.
Kirk, you don't have any money, do you?
No, not at all. All right, Malcolm. Well, go enjoy your shopping spree and have a great run today, okay? And give the Juice our love because he's a great guy.
The Juice is loyal.
Wonderful guy. All right, Malcolm. Thank you.
All right. Enjoy.
You as well. Thank you.